Okay, hello to everyone. So I have one SMG, but one MTT on the top right, and then some few SMGs running and backdoor. SMGs have been quite crappy so far. I just called on the bottom left. I mean, it's kind of awkward spot to be. This guy mid-raised small blind code, so just that guy bets river. Doesn't really represent too much in my opinion. Like I would expect 6 or 9 to bet turn fairly often. So, well, I suppose that was possible. Oh yeah, the stack depth was a bit awkward. Like, do I want to shove almost 30 big blind, or I 3-bet small and face 4-bet? I kind of have to fold. On that stack setup on the bubble, and of course the heart on the river. So we are having to fold 3 bets. Okay, well, maybe it was good. Yeah, it's possible that he has the bottom pair, but I mean, it's not like he necessarily 100% time even calls with all the deuce X's that he has on the flop. And this is pretty much mandatory call. We also had to have the gut shot with the 9. And yeah, I kind of have to bet here. Let's hope that we don't face check raise. Another MTT, this guy, well, he's actually now lost most of his stack, but he has been basically playing like maybe 80% of hands and always with passive line like limping coin raises and whatever. And pretty much any 2 range more or less. Never folding previous races. Well, at least most races anyway. So kind of nice opponent, but the problem has been that I have been isolating him very often, but mostly I have not hit the boards and actually made one a high hero call. Bottom left, the question is, do we want to? Yeah, I think we kind of have to raise here. I'm not loving the situation if he shoves. But yeah, I think we still have to call it backdoor flush draw. We have relatively good one, so Yep. Doesn't bet the flop. Oh well. Yeah, that sort of luck. Hitting the flush when we are drawing dead. Yeah, I'm going to shove against this guy. He can have zillion bigger hands. Well, ace-9 doesn't play that well. Wow, kind of nasty spot on the outer table. This guy limp shoves. It's really close in my opinion. Ace-jack I would fold, but let's go with it. Jack was good for us, that board. I was thinking on bottom top right that we could, in a way, strip squeeze pre-flop and basically bluff raise against these two players, cutoff and bottom, and value raise against the small blind with that play. Because I mean, this guy can have anything and he probably doesn't fold anything. So. And now he has the aces. Well, luckily he didn't have the aces on the first time. But quite something that we get ace king versus aces then. Mr. Limper. Oh yeah, this guy had 9-5 out of the queens here. Well, I can basically set mine here on the. Also, the big blind quite often comes along, which is not a bad thing. Well, kind of good flop in a way. I think we probably have to call here against this sizing. We also have some possibilities to turn straight equity, but I'm not planning to call again if he continues. I mean, when I call this flop, I think my brains will have decent amount of king x, some pocket pairs, so I don't think will lane should be barreling that often with weaker hands. Rainbow flop also, so well, let's just complete on the bottom right. It's nice to have some aces, and especially with aces will be playing somewhat better. I think this is pretty decent spot to lead. It's basically pretty good if we just take the pot down. And I think I will go for check call here. I mean, I'm betting we can get some draws to call, but I'm not expecting like any better hand to fold. We can keep some pot control. Now the issue is that if he bets the river, he can have 8-6, some 7x, some 9x, maybe like 9-8, which makes sense. Don't block the diamond, which is the good thing, but kind of nasty spot. I don't think this is pretty close overall. On the bottom left, if I had suited hand, any backdoor flush equity, I would tend to see bet here because it's relatively dry flop, but I don't really have much going on here, so I think check folding is pretty standard option overall, and we hit the very great flop overall on the bottom right. It's more sizable c-bet size, such drawy board. So as always, if you have any questions, comments, want to talk about anything, please feel free to use the YouTube chat. Oh, here we have 26/107 situation, so we have like it over pot size. Now the fish has got a bit more stack, which is pretty nice news for me in the long run, of course. Or it might be the same player that will also drop me out at some point or something, but his callers, passive limp callers, are very good customers. But he actually made bluff here. So I would probably quite often not call against most people. Let's see if I can find it. So yeah, it was here. We have flush draw, but there is 2 players interested in the pot, so I don't really put much value for 5 high. 5 high. Of course, we have like tiny bit of showdown value as well, but it's quite easily situation that we might be pretty much dead here. Drawing the 2 outer, which was the case pretty much here. There was bigger pair and bigger flush draw. Oh yeah, so the hand. So basically, this guy once again limping, I4x, I raise. I could use more bigger as well, but I mean, of course it would be fine, but I think we can. This guy basically, I don't remember he has folded to two barrel post flop single time. So if I had bet flop turn, I mean, if I hit like pair with the ace king, for example, I can get a ton of value out of him. So yeah, I just decided to check here because I said if he has any sort of hand, or even if he doesn't have hand, he probably continues, and then so I decided to just keep the pot smaller so I can more easily call later streets if possible. And yeah, he pots here against most people. This would be the board that connects quite well in general to limp colors range, I think, but against him because he has like any 2 range, and I don't know if he's going to bet like that with any 3rd pair or something. So I did the bluff gets here, and he had 7 high this time. I think 6-5 we can definitely call here. Price is like 1 to 9 or something like that. Of course, we are rarely going to hit anything we are going to be happy about, but yeah. And pretty easy snapshot from the bottom right. See if this guy found monster again, and he did, but we are flipping. No help, unfortunately. So basically that guy has had like 3 big pocket pairs. At the top left we can shove, or we have space to make small 3-bet as well. I think I will go for it. Well, this is kind of a crappy hand to bluff gets on the bottom right because I have quite a big blockers against his possible semi-bluff combos, so and once again pretty bad board. I was check calling on the turn, but he doesn't bet until another overcard. Maybe I should have just shoved the turn and not play tricky. Of course, the chances of another overcard coming is going to be pretty small. Not the greatest river card on the bottom left, but I think I still try to get thin value out of some Jack X, 9X. Yeah, not raising light against this guy. There's some merit in a way betting. Well, I don't think he's folding really, but basically value bet, I suppose. And yeah, I think I will go quite sizable here, and let's see if he finds the fold button. He does. Well, top left I will be shoving. I would also call if the villain had shoved. Oh, he min raises. That's new. That's completely new line. Oh well, turners and rivers just have to make opponents. Oh, we only need quite a miracle to get back. I think it's kind of close on the bottom right. We have some equity from the queen, so that's why I called here, but I had like deuce 9 on the flop, I would have folded. Well, ace king will be pretty easy. 3-bet. From this sizing, we basically already know that this guy is somewhat fishy at least. Because min raising obviously doesn't make any sense. And this limper is actually the guy that calls. It's really dry flop, so let's make small c-bet. And shove the turn. Pretty much any turn I would be shoving. Now he has started to min raise, it seems. And luckily he evades his quite alive hand actually. Let's move the outer table here. We have a nice looking situation proving king 9 kind of close. From the bottom I would probably ISO raise, but I think from cutoff it's likely a bit questionable. And on the bottom left we can definitely see bet, but I think it's kind of fine either way. We have pretty solid showdown value, and basically the village shouldn't have much of pocket pairs in his range with T stacks, I would imagine at least. If he has the ace, we are not getting that to fold, and he has it. Well, yeah, king queen, which does beat us. Oh well. That would have probably folded. But yeah, that might be pretty much the only hand that is ahead of us. Out of the AX hands, obviously. Outside of the AX hands. And they got all in here. Well, this time I actually had that big hand. So was this H guy? I suppose he probably shoved because I haven't seen this guy. This guy 3-betting ever. Okay, so there was ISO raise and he 3-bet shoved. King queen on bottom left, it's actually kind of hands that will probably shove. It's also a nice 3-bet shove hand if the hijack opens. Or he raises, well, just call 10. Because if I mean raise, it's kind of questionable. If it's profitable to be. If it's profitable to be raise calling in the SNC. Now the question is, do we want to go? How big we want to go? We want to go pretty big anyway. I'm just thinking that even shoving might be reasonable, but let's go with the 4x sizing. And well, he snap calls that at least. Should have called on the bottom top left actually. Or complete from the small blind. Yeah, I don't know if he would have called against the shout here anymore. Well, wasn't mandatory shove on the outer table. Flush over flush. Yeah, there was risk that he has bigger flush here because he did call flop and turn and led the river, which completed the flush. But I mean, we only had like 1.5 times the pot remaining on the river, I think. So I have so often seen people do really weird stuff, like they might play some random top pair like that and still call my shout here, so I'm pretty fine with 10 high flush shove on the river. We are pretty deep stacked here on the table 4. And Jack 10, pretty nice hand raise. If he makes normal sort of 3-bet, we can easily call and play from the position. If we are a bit shallower, like 20 pp, then we definitely want to think about just open limping. And obviously not folding. Queen is basically kind of a blank card outside of some random flush draw combos. And 160, well, I'm not going to raise here when we will then check raise the flop already. It would be kind of overplay. River is pretty good, no draw complete, and It's even somewhat less likely that he has that random queen at this point. I really don't see what the heck that guy is doing here. Oh well. I think I kind of have to call Jack is so good equity overall. And of course he has the ace and it's right away on the flop. Yeah, that's sort of problem of that sort of play, which will then made that when he shoves his AX that deep, it's quite tough to get weaker hands to call. Like even if I call like King Jack plus, maybe King 10 suited, I will be actually folding quite a lot of the weaker aces, maybe calling some weaker suited aces. Well, 6 is kind of bad on the top left for me to be betting much of anything, so I will just check that and let's see if we realize anything. Oh well, are we flipping or way behind on the top left, bottom left? Running spade, not gonna happen. But yeah, shove is definitely plus EV here. We could min raise as well and fold against two bigger stacks and call this short stack. Top left, I was planning for limp shove, but he shoves right, so that plan failed. Again, bottom right, kind of awkward spot is to lane shove. I suppose I will probably fold that one. But yeah, pretty nasty spot with that jack we had on the heads up. Oh, well, King 7 in a way it's quite high in our range, so I think we are going to call once and fold if he continues. Can have ton of pair obviously on this flop, some monster hands as well. How many better hands can we get to fold here? Problem is that he can quite easily have some AX, and I don't think we get those to fold, so I think I will just check fold if he gets. We are in pretty decent shape in the MTT 16/110. No point to really bet on the bottom left on flop or turn. And now we have the practical nuts, so let's hope he has some sort of spade and we can get some value. I'm gonna try to slow trap on the bottom right, but the lane seems to be quite passive against the limping, so min raising might be overall better option. And again, top left, not really too much point in raising. Of course, we give some equity realization to flush draws, but also we keep some of the air balls he might have. I think I just check shove here. We have top pair plus open-ended straight draw, and it's pretty shallow, so backwise I mean. I think I will check on the top left maybe again. I mean, if he has like 5x, I don't know if he's going to call anyway, but if he has total air, we allow him the chance to bluff. And we were ahead, but unfortunately didn't realize our equity this time. I mean, on the top left, if he actually has the ace, he's most likely 100% of time betting the river. So it's kind of questionable how often we can lose value by checking. This guy min bets, so I think we kind of have to call again. And obviously, when overcalling here, and we are in pretty great shape, and we won. 5 deuce, we could try to limp to the left. Still has some playability. And once he checks twice, I think I bet for valueless protection. 9-7 kind of mandatory shove. Yeah, 69, 10-9. Well, king 6 we can shove, but I think limp folding is a decent option also. This guy really likes to lead on the limped pot. Limped pots. We could have actually 3-bet on the bottom left as well. I sometimes 3-bet those type of hands, mixing some bluffing hands with some equity. Well, I was trying to hope that he bet small on the top left and we could shove, but he actually shoves himself, so we have to fold it here. And pretty nutty hands on both heads-up tables. And we get great price on the upper right and suited hand, so I'm going to continue it here. Not really the greatest flop, but let's see what happens. Well, that is actually quite nice. We could bet the turn as well, but well, against this guy we probably could get full street of value. It's quite tough to be folding here. Lane takes the river because there is only one ace and king that we have. Actually, we don't lose even to king, so it's only the ace. So definitely not folding against this guy. And we got him to bluff with total. Wow, that was quite a heroic play. I mean, raising from the big blind with crappy hand against button limper who is never folding. I don't know if he actually knew on this table or no, he has been at least some time. But yeah, don't make plays like that. Don't make plays like that. Especially when you know that opponent is not folding. I was actually quite sure that he has the king X, so I suppose it was quite decent bluff in a way. Usually I just check on the bottom right his spots because I'm not really getting better hands to fold usually. And it's nice to have this sort of hand in our range when the flush draw does complete. So now most of the players are not putting us for the flush overall here. So our range looks really weak. And he bets pretty sizable, and we are going to wait, think a little bit and shove over his bet. And hope he actually has like top pair or better. Unfortunately, no cool, but pretty nice spot anyway. And sometimes, depending on the board run, you can also use that hand as bluff catcher. It's 7. I think it's actually quite close, but not 4.7 big blind in the hand. At the bottom left, we can go either way. I think against two people, I tend to prefer betting here and just denying some equity. Of course, one of the problems is that we get raised. It's kind of awkward. And now I think it's, well, there is some merit in betting for free showdown. But I think more standard option for me is to check it here. And he had the king. Well, I think we might have lost even more by taking the passive line if we had faced bigger bets. Well, king queen, we can go either way. More often I will be. This is again kind of situation that we have a lot of showdown value. So I don't see huge merit in betting. If he checks here, I think we can think about kind of equity denial in value bet, because I think most of the time Bill Lane would probably lead. And he can have some 3x that beat us, but at least so far I don't believe that this has been the sort of guy that he's check raising here. Much at all. Does he donk bet now? Kind of weird lines always these. But yeah, maybe against this guy we should be just mainly shoving those hands pre-flop, because I don't think he has been so far. Well, let's hope that he doesn't raise this time. This is kind of a questionable hand to be shoving. Well, might be like somewhat plus EV. I mean, when he doesn't seem to be aggressive against the limping, then we don't really get equity from inducing him to bluff, shove or raise against our limp, so and if that's the case, then we are just giving free equity by allowing him to see a lot of flops for free. Okay, high to Lapis. Okay, bad sleeping. That has been around. It's always pretty awkward when you try to get to sleep. Like you might feel sleepy and then you go to bed and just don't get to sleep anyway. Yeah, we are one of the bigger stacks. At Queen 7 we kind of have to call. It's only 4 big blinds. And he has the better hand. Well, and yeah, I'm not going to try any limping plays here. Well, I suppose this time he will have to lock this out. I limp anyway. And we hit pretty big flop, and it's also quite trolly, so I think I will go for a bit over half pot. Of course, it's also a flop that favors our range heavily. And we get pretty much the worst possible turn card. And now we get kind of best possible river card. Only losing against specifically straight flush, so I think we want to just probably shove here and hope he has like, because there's some random guy he might call even AX. Probably flushes anyway. So let's try to go for max value. Unfortunately he folds. He could have also gone like maybe 7,000 or something. Or 8,000. But yeah, it has two sides. Like I think most of the time, if he actually has like flush, he's probably going to call that. At least most of the population in these games will be snap calling those. Well, I think every player has motivation issues. Sometimes it's just like, well, if it's habit for you, it's not really like you have to play. So I think you can kind of go the way that if you don't feel like it, then don't play. But yeah. Of course, it's always kind of depending of the what sort of player you are. Like, if you are, for some people, putting some sort of targets is going to work really well. Like you want to play a certain amount of hours or hands or games, whatever, and then try to stick with it. With the ace of spade, I would call here on the top left, but I think with the queen we can still fold. So this looks kind of weird line, but the issue is that if he actually happens to have like ace king with the spade, we are going to be drawing practically dead. And on the MTT I will just value solve it 5 against this guy. Unfortunately he had a little bit better. No hit. I think I will try to float here. Stack is a bit awkward, but we still have some space to bet fold if he checks. Only question is, does this guy call? This guy is going to call. Almost certainly. Aces. Oh, he actually folded it. I suppose he doesn't want to put half of his stack. Well, it's not bad if they fold. And back to limping. Would be funny to see like this guy's stats, like it's probably like 18/5 or something. I mean 80/5. I think ace jack we want to defend. Even 4-betting as a bluff would make some sense, but with these stacks I kind of prefer to just all folding feels a bit weak. And this is actually pretty nice turn card. If it checks, I think I will try to hit bets. Thinking about shoving here. So we do have the double gutshot. Like the queen check. Like if he has some king, queen, ace, king, he might even find the fold sometimes. We are plugging aces in king type of hand, so I don't think it's too horrible. We can definitely have some straights, some two pairs, some sets here. I mean, if I had like pocket tens here, I would just call pre-flop. Don't really want to 4-bet when we are 70 big blind deep. It's not usually going to end too well against the 3-bet stack of range. Like he has like ace king pocket tens plus or something that's going to stack off tier pre-flop 10. It's obviously not great spot. Maybe some ace queen suited or something to get nines. H6 is kind of close, but we are still have the position and so on. So and our hand is actually counterfeited. It's an interesting spot if it checks. I don't think I try to bluff here. I suppose it wouldn't be horrible to want to bluff sometimes in that spot to be. This guy bets 2,500, he only has 7,000 behind, so we can't really continue with the open ender. Too expensive with those small blind odds. It's over limped here. I think from the position it's kind of a reasonable hand. Yeah. This is the sort of issue with the limp, of course. It's extremely unlikely that I really have calling hand against like the big blind here, so he can basically delete me from the pot overall. Like even if he was really deep against me, it doesn't matter. King jack, I will open raise. We have to stack off against the big blind, so. But possible. Let's hope that he doesn't show. Kind of same situation on the top left that I don't think the small blind really will have. It's like maybe he calls like 5% of time or something. It's extremely rare usually. So even though I was pretty deep against him, it doesn't really matter that much. The ace-8 suited we could ISO raise here. It's not bad option. Yeah, I'm just going to fold here. I don't think this guy will be raising light here. Yeah, well, challenge is I'm not personally that happy. Like I don't recommend result-based challenges, but yeah, I think it's more it's often more reasonable to make like volume-based targets. But you can also have like you are going to try to post like certain amount of hands after each session or analyze after the session these some sort of amount of hands and so on. So that sort of studying goals are pretty nice as well. E7. Queen jack I will call from the position. Pretty nice. Nice hand with these decently deep stacks. Well, can't really over here. Obviously, UTG Limper can have a strong hand. But if it was just this bottom guy limping, I would have probably took the preflop shove spot. And on the bottom right, the bottom left, I think we kind of have to just stack off here, or not stack off, but call this river bet. Well, luckily for me, he didn't shove the river, so left some value on the table. Well, everyone check, it will decrease the AX amount quite a bit. I was actually aiming for 1500, but mouse wheel made it a little bit bigger. Well, I don't think it's matter too much. Top left villain was trapping power force controlled. Wow, that's pretty rare line. I think I just fold here. We don't really have chances to improve, and he does. I mean, plus 4-way pot, so it's a bit different story. If it was a bit like heads up pot or something, and something similar happened, but I think I just give up, give respect here. Yeah, that's the problem, that when you put like more than 10% challenge, it's really variance dependent. Really variance dependent stuff. Like even if you have clear edge on the game and you play good, it doesn't really matter that you can keep, or doesn't mean that you can keep more than 10% ROI anyway if you just happen to run not that great. Even if you run like decently well, it's actually, I think it's quite a big void anyway. But definitely possible, I'm not saying it wouldn't be possible. And of course it depends like what are the games. If it's SNG, it's quite good, but of course if it's like MTT, then it's actually quite low overall. I decided to this time use my hand on the top left as semi-bluff. Do we want to try to bluff that one? We do block the flush draw, but okay, well, that was easy decision when he donk bets. Not going to bluff raise. Well, on the bottom left we could call as well, I suppose, but I think those king high, we have some a high hands that are still going to be somewhat better. Better to call with, because sometimes people do basically turn the a highs into bluff by making kind of unnecessary bets. Oh, he actually folded. So seems like when he has really small stack, he actually has the fold button. Well, I started playing, I think 2007, and well, I suppose it was something like 2012 that I started to mainly play poker, so 4 or 5 years I suppose. Now he gets the 80. Okay, let's get €10. 10€. Sensi. I had €25 MTT running, but drop out of that. I will just shove the ace deuce. We probably have some fold equity anyway. He might have a hand like that. And obviously, if he had open shove, I would have called suited ace here. Yeah, I suppose it's just about managing the time you want to play. It's usually possible to find time for something you want to do. And yeah, I will try to value bet the river on the bottom right, but I think we want to use quite small sizing. And at the top left, like usually these sort of boards, I sometimes I see bet some of my AXs, but I think usually want to prefer checking back these sort of AXs that like if the turn comes 7-9, you will turn more equity, and then aim to see bet more of like ace 4 type of hands or maybe some backdoor flush draw AX hands that you can then double barrel on some turns. And one of the good sides of ace 10 is also that if you hit lower cards, the 10, you will still have decently strong pair. But if you have like some really crappy ace and you hit the like second bottom pair or bottom pair, it's going to be way less valuable in general. Well, obvious stack off on top left. Oh well, and huge setup. Well, what can you do? And fairly clear for bet. I don't think I will do any sort of call. On the top right we can call or shove. I think both options are quite fine. Well, do we luck box? No heart, thank you. Well, we lost that one. Well, I prefer that way, even if we lose the situation on the SNG and winning on the TT. But yeah, I think with the ace-3 shooter you can go either way. It's not really carved in stone that either line would definitely be better or worse. So you still have the ace blocker, you have shooter ace, so you will have some decent equity getting called. But yeah, this guy's 3-bet call was quite fairly optimistic, I should say. And yeah, of course, if I have like pocket 10s, he will be flipping, but and again going for limp shove on the bottom left. Well, I suppose it works that way. Blind versus blind hitting to big ace versus bigger ace. That's the ugly card distribution. Well, we have like 6 big blind, 5 big blind behind, so no. For me this is kind of whatever. Check or shove. I think it's kind of a useless tricky play to be limping here. Yeah, it was lucky in unlucky situation. I mean, it was it cut-off open raising, so it should have quite a lot of in raise fold range. And once again, this guy limps. I will again value shove. We only have like 8 big blind, 7 big blind, 7 big blind behind, so. Okay, let's take more. €10. Kind of often in this site is like €25 games and €50 games. They tend to kind of fluctuate. Sometimes they run pretty good, and then, or they might run like pretty good some portion of time, and then they suddenly die completely. And half hour on it might also again be running nice and so on. Well, top right we can't really set mine here, so it's kind of a mandatory fold spot. Yeah, I mean the ace-10 spot, it's kind of a, there's no way in my opinion to not stack off pre-flop against most opponents. If you raise and he shoves you, it's going to be pretty tight to be not stacking off. It's possible against some people, but at the bottom left, shoving is decent option, but we can also win raise fold. Fold again. If I had aggro reach on the opponent, I would prefer taking the open shove option, and I don't have any reads. I usually just win raise fold those crappy offsuit AX. Especially when we don't have any antes, so. Let's limp the crappy king and flop the trips. That's usually working plan. And 5-9 suited is decently playable hand to defend against the bottom raise. Yeah, I mean ace is not usually going to help us that often. So I think I prefer still betting on the. We are mainly aiming like Jack X type of hand, so I don't think we maybe can't go like really big. And kind of unfortunate card. If it was total blank, we could probably value bet the river as well, but when it's card that completes flush draws and straight draws, we can't really value bet anymore. Yeah, it might be partly because I changed from OBS Classic to OBS Studio. That might be one reason. At least for me, it seems like it has been working way better with this software. But yeah, it might be also just that my router or connection just decides to work better and sometimes maybe less good. I think I will go for bet call against the short stack on the top left, and we can bet fold against the stack. Because I think it's kind of a strong hand to be just check folding by turn. These are always kind of interesting hands in my opinion, these crappy aces like in blind versus blind, that I think you can shove like 20 big blinds here effective wise profitably. The question is often that where do you want to draw the sort of line, that how deep you want to go. Of course it depends on the player as well, but also like it might be better like if you are 20 big blind deep to go for that limp shove, especially if you are against aggressive opponent. Because if he actually has like really good hand, you are going to get called with the shove likely as well. So it's not like it will change the situation from those times that the lane will have a premium hand and whatever you open shove or so. The bottom left we have to call against the button, but if the small blind shoves, I'm not going to call. This is kind of an interesting spot. We can go, we can choose any line in my opinion. there is some merit in every line. We can shove, we can raise small and fold against the shove and just check. By checking, it's kind of nice that we sometimes have the AX when the AX flop comes. Well, we managed to hit something. King 6, so I think we have to call it here. Queen. Nope. Yeah, well, nice that it works. Yeah, only like, what was it, 6 big blind, 7 big blind bottom shove, and there is the antes, so I think it's a bit too strong a hand to be folding that king. I mean, I would have folded if he had like 2 big blind more, but that stack depth should be fine. Ace 4 we can use as raise fold blocker thing. Oh, I actually missed that this guy ISO raised. Well, that was optimistic call. I just looked at, okay, this sword stacks out, and oh well. Luckily it wasn't bigger raise. Luckily it wasn't bigger raise. Use your eyes. That's pretty good advice in general. Yeah. You can't call ace 3, that's stack depth. Check, bet river. Again, kind of questionable looking line in my opinion. I think it's kind of passive to not bet the turn with pair on that board. I mean, there is so many semi-draw type of hands we can have on the turn that, at least for me, 10 jack would be pretty much auto bet turn. Not quite the flop we wanted on the right. Well, the bottom left, nice looking situation because small blind shouldn't fold any hand. He can shove any 2 really profitably here. And we just need to hold. It's nice when you wake up with that sort of hand and any 2 spots and villain is somewhat competent. And we are going to double barrel. Increase our sizing on the top right. he doesn't fold. Nice equity hand, but not this time. It's always kind of a tricky course to be parallinked here because you might not be limping that many AX hands with those stack depths. This big blind has big stack has actually been folding quite a lot against my races. On the bottom left, this is a situation where, like, I think he should be shoving crappy aces, but even those can be quite marginal overall. Because of the stack distribution. Yeah, I don't know, I've been posting on the poker strategy at least, I don't know, maybe there would be some better places to post about it. Oh, we actually had €50 game starting now. And on the top right, we kind of have to bet here. Top pair. And again, not really that bad outcome if the villain just fold. Board can develop in such many bad ways overall. Yeah, we are a bit below average stack at this point, so still pretty playable stack. So on the top left, I will min raise call against the big blind. This table is too big. Well, if he checks on the top left, we kind of need to check back because that folding would be a bit weak. Don't really know how I should react here. I think it feels a bit weak to be just folding. If I call, he can basically shove. Like if I call and he shoves on any turn other than king or queen, we kind of have to fold. So yeah, I hope that he would not have the checked here. I don't know, maybe it was spew line. I don't say too much point in c betting here. Big blind can have quite a lot on that board. We have some showdown value anyway. Not the best board, obviously. Oh, still one. Okay, now we are moving from table to table. Always kind of bad thing because then you don't have any information or any idea about the opponents. 3 big blind raise. I think it's a bit, or over a bit, over 3 big blind. It's awkward in my opinion to call with the h7 with those quite shallow stacks. Yeah, fold pre-flop is. I mean, yeah, there can be some special situations like some sort of satellite spot where you can fold, or maybe like some really extreme ICM spot otherwise, but well, I think it's really tough to get situation where you could profitably fold aces outside of satellites or double or nothing. Oh, this guy min raised or min pre-betted pre-flop, so I obviously don't fold anything. Just call, because I would also call like pretty much again almost all of my range with both odds that he's. That should have been complete on the €50. What has happened here? I think I will go for turn delayed c bet on top left. Okay, well, he probably had the king when he raises back like that. Well, pocket threes will be just open shove. It's awkward if this guy raises too. I think this is really close. I think shoving is still probably plus EV. 30 big blind and these bottom open big stack. Obviously not situation you really want to get, like, yeah, I get a chance to shove here. Not quite. Not quite. Well, let's just play straightforward shove with the ace deuce and hope he doesn't trap. Okay. Yeah, of course, if you have like really many players, it means that you are most likely dropping out if they cover you or multiple players cover you, but it will be fine, because then when you do win the thing, then you are going to increase your stack so much. I think pretty standard check call on the €50. We have the middle pair and so some showdown value. Of course, these situations can become pretty kind of nasty in a way that if he triple barrels and we don't improve. But yeah, I think this point, well, we have at least check call. If he bets. Now the question is just that, is it better to shove? And I think will likely stack off any straight or queen X, so I will go for the shove and let's hope he doesn't have full house or better. Oh well, Jesus, this day has been pretty awkward from these nuts everywhere when you get the really strong mate hand as well. Oh well. That wasn't good river, it seems. Well, King Jack is mandatory shove pretty much. Really don't want to be race folding. Oh well. Pretty much any blank river card and I could have folded. I mean, I block some of the draws I want villain to have, so it's not really middle pair I need to call down. Well, sometimes that happens. And yeah, great river on the outside table. Not really much we can beat, I suppose. Like some very optimistically played Queen Jack or something. King X turned into bluff or stuff like that. Can be values on the bottom right. I think villain has like King High 8x, some flush draws that has busted. Mainly. Rarely some slow played AX probably. Yeah, I've had quite many types of those. One spot I bet flop turn river the flush and villain donk bets on the river, and I'm kind of thinking that do I want to just call or raise? I had 10 high flush here and decided to shove, and villain had queen high flush. We are closing the bubble on the MTT as well. The outside table raising light against the limp here. Pretty awkward flop. Because usually when someone limp calls, he will be connecting this sort of board. If he checks here, I suppose we could try to step. We obviously have quite a decent amount of queen X in our range here. Like if he had ace queen, for example, it's not like we would necessarily want to be c-betting. And expensive looking hand coming on the top left. Mandatory shove anyway. And Jack 9 is kind of, it's not horrible to limp fold, but I definitely prefer most of the time to open shove. Yeah, that's the point of poker, that don't let feelings get in the way, basically. And it's not like, I mean, you can steam somewhat if you lose, take some bad beats or get run into setup. It's not like necessarily that bad of a thing, but it's just that you have to be able to recover from it. Or like for me, I might like curse somewhat, but it's pretty rarely going to really affect my play. What the heck is happening on the top left? In comes and he snap shoves. kings, random king actually. King 7 or something. Kind of want to hero gold. Well, jack high, bottom pair. King queen, ace queen. Well, that sucks. Yeah, we can fold. We don't really have anything with the ace high over also. If I had ace 3 with the spade also, I would call it here. Top left, we can, at least from the Nash view, we can basically shove any two, and it's still going to be suited hand, so it's not quite. Still, in a way, quite a bit better than deuce 7 off, for example. Ace 9 off. I think we have to shove here with the 6 big blind. We don't have fold equity most likely, but I mean, I wouldn't shove total crappy ace, but I think that is a bit too good. Well, kings and ace queen. Well, spade. I would have won at least that. Forget kings at that point. Oh, I hit the straight. Well, that's better. That's better than spade. Unfortunately, it's just €10 game, so it's going to make this session any much more profitable. Yeah, I really dislike on the Unibet the fact that you can't, like, when the table ends, you can't open the replayer anymore on the game that ended. I think that sucks quite a bit. Like, sometimes you would want to check that what exactly happened, what the villain had on the last hand and so on, but you can't really do it in a sensible way. And there is hand history feature in this client, but it's so crappy that you can basically say that it's unusable for anything real. Like when you are playing multiple SNC games and you would want to find some specific hand, it's going to be quite a task. Not much going on in the MTT, just fold. The game. Yeah, like a6 off, you don't really want to open from high, but from the cutoff you might sometimes open it. I don't think it's mandatory from the cutoff either. Well, top left we could sometimes go for the 3, but just fold. Time. I don't really want to call usually those king 10 off type of hands. Well, top right, if it's folded to me, it will be profitable shove. So also quite close to the Nash, bottom of the Nash, so I don't really mind if I don't get the shoving situation. Well, pretty nutty hand now on the MTT. pretty much no scenario that I will be folding, even this one. And this is kind of a nice in a way that I don't think the villain will have often bigger pocket pair. So let's call and hope for the best. And we are way ahead. And he's drawing that. Nice, nice. Nice, nice. Double up. Yeah, that's true. Like Cooper often likes to say that if you make one big blunder, for example, on the SNG games, you might need to. This kind of awkward spots, in my opinion, on top right, because it's nice hands to call, but we have kind of 3 shoving stacks behind, so I think I just stopped here. And we probably lose the flip. Of course, if this guy shoves, it's not like necessarily bad thing, but even then the problem is that if we call, this open raiser might ISO fold it. So what the hell? If I would want to, that's kind of a team play looking thing. He shows. So this guy shoves like 7 big blind, and this guy 2.5x fold. Well, that's quite something. That's quite something. Yeah, he might be just really fizzy player and just doesn't understand anything about the pot odds. But if he folds that, so probably kind of have to 3-bet here, even though I usually don't use ace-5 off type of hands. I mean, if he's raise folding that that small of a 3-bet, I should have huge amount of fold equity. Out here. Probably made some that fold in the pre-flop in the process. And nuts. Well, we can see bet, but I think we don't really want to see bet fold, so I think I prefer checking back. I would not expect that he necessarily have huge amount of AX, but he can definitely have some, but when he checks, I think we definitely want to go for late C bet. Of course, if he check raises, it's going to be kind of awkward, but it's pretty rare thing. Yeah, he really shouldn't be folding, so that's like It's kind of two possibilities. One, these guys know each other and it was on purpose donation for the sword stack. Or two, this guy is just total fish. Or like absurdly too tight. Or maybe some sort of misclick, who knows what. Well, this will be shoving hand again if it's folded to me. And on bottom left, definitely ISO raise, not ISO raise. I kind of don't like ISO raise turn when you are racing against single player blind versus blind. Sometimes just it tends to stick. Because most of the time it's going to be ISO raise. I really try flop, so I don't necessarily want to check raise this king line. If it was with flush draw, it would be a way more plausible option. We can either bet fold or check call, I think. I think I prefer check call. Well, he bets really big, but well, let's try to get again the possibly tighter player. Not horrible hand, we have suited hand, some connectivity. Queen has some blocker value. And he folds. But yeah, we don't want to like overdo that. I'm not going to pre-bet him like total garbage. Especially if we have done it a couple of times, so you might start to think that we are not having the premium every time. Yeah, it's pretty nice situation because we are kind of close to bubble and he seems to be tighter player, at least from that fold earlier, so kind of a nice spot to be applying some pressure on the guy. I think on the bottom right we have three-way pots. We also have the diamond, so I will choose the check call line from the flop pot size. Well, still I don't think we can fold. Of course, now the problem is that if he continues betting big and so on, how much value the 9 of diamond has. I think we kind of have to fold still against this sizing. Might have flushes, might have some 2-pair or set. Or some bigger AX. Obviously on the upper right this would be kind of bad spot to be 3-betting light anyway, because big blind will likely call every time. Now he 3-bets, but the sizing is absurdly small. Not the greatest flop on the top left. I'm just trying to check the showdown and hopefully win the showdown. Hit the A high. Oh, he hit the river. And another, again, this guy is potting. I will just call it down this time. Of course, not the greatest turn card, but it's second time that he takes this sort of line against him. Check, so I'm a bit suspicious. Of course, he can have better hands, but so okay. I don't know what the guy is thinking, if he's thinking. It's really tough for me to be stacking off with weaker hand and queen 10. The 7-6 shooter is kind of too good hands to be folded. And bottom left, this guy min raises against my limp, so basically I can say that I'm not. It's pretty rare that I will be folding to min raise. I think I will try to value bet here on the river. If he raises, I will be folding. Your king. I was actually more often thinking that if I lose, it's going to be against the queen, but on the top right, we could probably just open shove pre-flop close to bubble, but I think it's probably quite marginal, and 8-6 will have some post playability. This guy just can't miss any 8, as it seems. Every time hitting. Yeah, must miscligger. New term. I think pocket 5s we can open, but we have to call against the big blind. Again, I'm not really hoping that he loves, but basically best outcome if everyone folds. But yeah, like the MTT, I had the 8-6. If I had 8-6 shooter, I would probably always shove that spot. It's just a bit too equity high equity hands to be just limp folded. So I mean, it was still, I think, 9 players to money, so I don't think we had like absurd amount of fold equity. Fold equity, if it look like 20,000 stacks, there is actually not that many smaller stacks than him, so I don't think he will be like extremely tight. Shooter jack, it's just too good to be folded. Here on the upper right. Against 2.5x open, but we don't hit anything. Nice looking flop. We can definitely think about check raising. Yeah, when we are out of position, I think I kind of prefer. Was pot betting against 2 players, so I would imagine that he often has queen x or something like that. So let's just play quick, no tricky stuff. And upper right, small blind calling, which he should pretty much never do. And this is pretty awkward flop, because if he flats something, it should be hands that hits pretty nicely on queen 10 board. Well, I don't really see point to turn the hand into bluff here, like maybe we get 10x or something to fold, but we have a little bit of equity probably anyway. Now he bets and we fold probably. Or shoves. Well, this is kind of a 10x king jack, 10x plus or air, but I think it's quite tough for him to have air here. Unless he's just falling way too wide. Like maybe some 8-9 shooter would make tiny bit of sense. We got another 50 euro. Running. And ace king, of course. Oh. Nice turn at least. Nice turn at least this time. This guy 3-bets. I think king jack suited is quite reasonable hand to defend. Of course it has some issues, like he might be dominated somewhat, but do I want to just hit fold here or? Let's still take the flop. This is the that's the part of defending these hands, that when we hit good c-bet. Of course, folding here after pre-flop call is kind of a bad idea, but I mean, the pot bets almost driest possible fold. No, that line doesn't really make sense, but I just don't believe that he's bluffing often in that spot. Kind of a bad turn card. It's way less likely that we have the queen, obviously, at that point. And yeah, I don't know. I think king jack suited is kind of a nice hand to defend overall. And I would have definitely continued against a little bit more reasonable sizing on the flop. It's kind of awkward that if you call it here, are you then calling the turn shove, or like continue against turn bet, or what is the plan after that? Of course you can maybe think it in a way that we can call it and fold if we don't get any equity. We had the backdoor flush draw, so that would make some sense, I suppose. I think it's kind of weird spot overall when he sizes the flop like that. But yeah, it's one of those weird spots. Like in my eyes, it really doesn't make any sense to use that sort of sizing. Extremely dry flop, so it's tough to say. Like some of the recreational players, they will just have the overpaired here, like 90% of time probably. But it's hard to know. Hard to know. Yeah, it's tricky in a way that it's probably a bit of league side of my game that not sure exactly what sort of range we should be defending in that sort of spot. I'm pretty sure that if we take some sort of CTO look, we should never ever be folding that flop. I defended here against the 3-bet and he shoves we have to go this spot. And the aces we are fairly deep, so I will go for the 3-bet. But yeah, might have been a bit of a chicken play to just give up that flop, to be honest. Ace jack, do we want to 3-bet call? Yeah, we can't really 3-bet fold with the stack depth we have. I think we can argue about just checking the flop here. It's pretty dry flop and there's really not too many bad things that can happen through it. Well, again, a really weird line. I'm just folding. Oh, we have 3 rolls starting on the top left. Top left. Well, that should be ending quickly. And definitely calling on bottom left when I also have the gut shot on the turn, but if it triple barrels here, it's kind of tough to see. We have the bluff catcher anyway at this point, so oh well. These are the kind of tricky sides of against playing fizzies because they can do stuff like that as well. I mean, no good player should be ever check raising that hand, in my opinion at least. Doesn't really make much sense. No money from that reroll. On the bottom right, I don't really want to stack off with my hand, so I will just take this passive call line. And if he bets, I think we want to just check shove. We can use some bit bigger flushes. Check calling range that doesn't really need any protection, but getting value here is going to be quite tough. I mean, of course we can like turn some AX into bluff, but it's kind of tough for us to have total air here. Yeah, it was probably bad play overall. Like you call pre-flop defending king jack suited and you hit that flop and check fold. Yeah. Not play I would usually make, but I don't know. I kind of don't know. I think top left we have to ISO shove here. Usually the bottom won't have the calling hand. And bottom right I will just raise here with my 2 overcard. Not straight draw, not much straight draw in a way that if the 8 comes we have 9 high straight. And then we just shove the turn. If we had made check raise with the 6x on the flop, we would be 7 also. Unfortunately, he has the 6, but we hit one of our outs. And floating on the top left, these checks I will be betting. But he check calls. It's either check or bet big. Well, we won anyway. Because if we bet, we are basically saying that we have full house. We don't really value bet anything else here. Or it's kind of tough for us to have any sort of other value, and well, if we don't value like a high or something. Yeah, he had king jack of spade, I think. Fold the flop and 10 donk shoved the turn, which looked pretty weird. And when it looks weird, it's usually some sort of crap. Let's try small c-bet on top left, really dry flop. And if just one player calls, I would double barrel. Because one thing you want to remember that when you use smaller sizes, it will usually also widen the calling ranges. So it means that when the villains call it was small c, but they will have wider ranges on the turn, and you tend to have a bit more fold equity than you might imagine with the second barrel. Of course, if they have like king x, they are probably, well, never folding to second bet, maybe third bet if we want to do that. And bottom left, I think this is kind of a mandatory call as a bluff catcher. We also have few nutty outs. One of the good sides in these boards is that we hit the 5 or 7 here, we can be almost certain we are good, because it's extremely likely that villain would bet turn like that with, let's say, 8-5 or 8-8 even. Of course he has the 8-5, well, yeah, that's how it goes. Extremely unlikely, and yep, the villain has it. But yeah, I'm usually expecting when he bets that board like that it's either straight or semi-bluff of some sort. Oh well. Well, that fits the category of today's SNC games, that when the premium card comes, it's going to be somehow total junk for you. Okay, try to bluff some big pairs, some better high cards to fold on the top left. Didn't work. Oh well. I think we want to just raise probably here. There is still quite a lot of hands that can continue here, and it's still pretty drawy, so if there was no flush draw, I would have probably just called here on the flop, keep his range as wide as possible. Or maybe if I had king of spade, for example, so my hand would need less protection, it would be And again we have some guy in donk betting. That's the sort of special lines these guys like to use. I decided to just check the weak ace, so I have some nice bluff catchers if he goes for bet. Well, not the greatest situation, but then we fold without the clock blocker. I think it's overall quite rare that we will have that. AX iter, so I think, of course, sometimes we can have like not flushed here, for example. So that's probably not enough. Yeah, that was bottom left spot was like I was ready like €200 bet that I'm always good here. That's sure that I'm good. Yeah, well, he was making kind of questionable value bet in my opinion. Because usually if I have like, let's say, single pair hands, I'm mainly just going to fold it here. At least if I don't have like pair plus flush draw. So it's kind of tough to get that many. We want to bet here. It's kind of a nice blocker stuff we have here. Let's try to spruce up a little bit. Well, they folded right away. And basically, if we bluff turn and river, we don't really want to have diamonds on our hand, so that the middle lane can have 10. I mean, if the river is blank, so it doesn't complete the flush. On top right, we have big stack on the big blind, so it's a bit dangerous situation. I think I just fold here. It's so close to bubbles and so on. So this would be a reasonable 3-bet candidate, but let's just take bit passively. This time. Would have been pretty nice looking flop at least. Yeah, there are 50 players every limit pretty much. That's the good thing of poker. Poker in general. UTC limps, do we want to? Yeah, I think we have to shove here. There is 420 on the pot. Button is usually never calling here. UTG is rarely going to call, sometimes, yeah. And then big blind wakes up. And makes, well, I suppose it's somewhat reasonable call. Well, luckily we get split pot. But yeah, random hand from the big blind woke up. Jack 10 should be plus EV to shove it here, though it's pretty much bottom of my range. The offshoot hand. I think 10-9 I would probably just embrace fold or something. Something like that. Maybe open fold even sometimes. Well, yeah, there are a lot of those situations like you are hoping for the flush to hit, and then you see in the showdown that you actually won with your weak pair or something like that. And the lane would have had the bigger flush draw, so it's like, luckily this time I didn't get what I hoped for. Who's happened? That was pretty cool spot on the bottom left. Like, it's so extremely rare that we are going to be 9th tier. I wasn't really too happy about turn bot size bet from the middle lane, bottom left. The first place, and he bets big here as well. It's pretty tough for us to beat here much. Jack 10 completed on the turn. Well, I don't think there will be weaker hands that often. Was aiming to 240 bet on the bottom right, but my mouse betrayed me once again. Well, size up on the turn, and he unfortunately folded. And bottom left, we definitely want to go for check line, in my opinion. I mean, one of the sides is that we have a high that has some showdown value, and we hit the 4 plus draw. By taking the passive line, we have quite a bit more showdown value. General with our big flush compared that we see bet, and he, because if we see bet, we are going to tighten his range quite a bit. I will just check here. We are still beating some flush draws, some 9-10, 9-jack, 10, that type of stuff. And he had total here, but fortunately not anymore on the river. And having the nuts when ice racing, well, this is one major hit on the flop. It is standard to say check back, so because we block so heavily everything will and can have. And Jesus, if this guy turns up with 4x in this spot, I think we kind of want to bet here anyway. It's really tough to get value from anything, but try anyway. Well, luckily he didn't have the 4. That would have been quite something. Quite something. Yeah, there is also option to check the what. Thought I clicked the call button, but I suppose it was his click, or maybe I don't think I timed out anyway, but well, whatever. It's actually direct bubble on the MTT. What is the smallest stack? 14,000. I will try to take min raise line here. Some small ball stealing might look crappy as well. They think like, yeah, this guy can't be raise folding anymore. He had such a premium hand that I don't know if shoving would be. It would probably be minus EV. I think I just shoved the ace king shooter just to avoid some tricky situation that we raise this guy call and we are out of position and so on. And really coordinated board. Just check and let's see if we get the turn for free. Do we want to try for delayed c-bet? I think we can do it. I mean, if we had some 9x type of hand, we could take the same line very, very nicely. Yeah, well, I mean, I think he has been folding quite a lot against 3 bets at least. Kind of weird looking line on top left again, but we don't really have anything to go with our pair, so just giving up. King 3 not strong enough. We can shove here. 5 is, well, might have the 5, but it should be quite rare. And if he for some reason slow played Sack 9, we are now beating it. So I think we just want to shove here. Hope that he hasn't got the miracle odds flush or something like that. Or have the 5x. We can definitely get like top pair hands to gold here. Yeah, I thought that I defended it, but I suppose I didn't. I was like, what the heck? It went to max, so to say. S3 we are calling against cutoff and small blind and well shoving against this guy. So it's actually pretty close even against the bottom if he had raised. I think this guy had been limping earlier as well, so I'm not going to be that worried about traps here. Just bet and try to take the bot down, so of course, well, now that we have the guts, so I think I will go for second barrel also. Yeah, that's crap, we can probably fold on the MTT. So I know that some people would probably defend that one as well, but I mean, we are on the direct bubble. Yeah, well, we were actually quite even stacked here, so. But yeah, a little bit bigger connector I would have defended, but. Well, let's just fold that crap on the bottom left. And King 8, I think I will go for this. Is going to be Nash shove. Let's hope that the small blind at least doesn't make stupid call or wake up with monster. And straight on the river. Well, if they will lane check, we are usually going to be free rolling basically. I will bet for 1.5 times the bot and hopefully get him to fold the split spot this time. I mean, it's like if you know that the real lane is going to be often going for big bet here, then obviously if you have better hand than the straight on the board, it's really good spot to be checking. Of course, you can also make ballsy check raise and hope that your opponent is just making bluff here. Bottom pair. No, bottom 2 pair. I was just going to say that is it bottom full house. Yeah, I think that is pretty nice check call bluff capture. I don't think we want to go for value bet here necessarily. Some 2 pairs I would bet for value, but bottom 2 is not really one you want to go for. This is again pretty weird line. I mean, limp calling and donk betting here, but if I had like king 10 of spade, I would probably try to float or something, but just fold when we don't really have anything side of the king high. Check, check, check. If you want to bluff some combos, it would be a bit better to have the heart, but I think I will try to bluff anyway. Well, he didn't fold the ace. That's the main target we are aiming to get to fold it here. But yeah, I would play some Queen X similar way. Checking because we have some showdown value and betting without such a big sizing. Well, let's value bet the bottom pair. Well, I think we kind of have to call with this price, but I don't expect we are good often. A little bit better, some 5-6, 5-4 shooter stuff. I would probably just shove pre-flop. Are we in the money? We are. We could limp the 5-7, it would be fine. I don't think folding is huge crime either. And this one, it's limped pot, so king high is simply a bit too strong to fold, even though we don't really have any backdoor flush or something like that. Once he's a second barrel, we can put that one. I think I shove the 8-4. Let's see if we run into some trap or not. 7 jack suited. I think this is just hand we want to shove mainly. Goes to bit too good to check fold category for me. No miracle on the river. Well. And we triple barrel on bottom left. Well, I'm not going to raise here, but oh well, this looks like some sort of slow blade flush to me. It could sometimes be the jack X as well. Well, it was bluff actually. Oh yeah, I think that makes some sense. We have backdoor flush draw. I was first checking that did he actually just call 10-9 backdoor flush draw, but he also had the backdoor flush draw. So yeah, I think that line was actually quite sensible one overall, I would say. We could have bet the 5, but I mean it's fine to check as well. But the main point is that I don't really expect Villain to bluff that often on the river, so that's why betting would be better. And king 9 obviously. Snap call. And back to 10 big blind. I will check the turn here. We have quite a weak kicker with the 9 and well, okay, I won't check. Again, kind of a weird line, but I don't see really any point to bet the river. Well, that flop call was my opinion just a bit on the spooky side, I would say. Well, I think this William Tucker has been calling quite often, so let's just check back that. Well, 10 high actually has a little bit of showdown value, so just try to check the showdown. Well, I don't know why it took that long. Maybe he was thinking about something. I mean, didn't not call action on the other table, perhaps. Another ace king. So we get action. I'm just going to shove here. It's a bit awkward stack depth to be raising small. And queen 7 we could shove, but it's actually really marginal in the mess, I think. 10.3 big blind, so sometimes I just like to mix in limping with these marginal shoving hands. And well, nice looking river. Yeah, we just have to bet here, and basically now the sizing is interesting question. So how often does he really have the 9 here? I wouldn't expect often, but what can we get value from? He doesn't have the 9. I'm just going for big because it's for the case that he has the 9, because I think it's really tough to get. Maybe we get some random king high to call if we bet smaller. But I think it's pretty tough anyway. And thing is, if we bet small, he's not necessarily raising the 9x against that anyway, so that's the main reason I went for that pot bet. And 2 pair on the turn. And it holds. Nice 5 outer for me this time. And yeah, fine play by the villain, obviously. Oh, wasn't planning to min bet. I somehow thought that I had limped pre-flop, so. But if that works, so be it. Fold. No club. Thank you. That was nice luck box. Obviously pretty standard sum with my stack depth. I think against 2 people we kind of want to bet on the well, it's fine to check as well. It's just that often when you have multiple opponents, it's a bit nasty to check in a way that you are giving out free equity. Obviously calling with the like high flush draw. Interestingly, now his sizing goes to half of what it was before. And we hit the 2 pair on the. Oh. I think unless he has 6-7, we are going to be good here, as always. And top left, we definitely want to raise. Also, not bad spot to turn some sort of Like maybe even weak king x to bluff. We could try to get tricky here with the aces. It's kind of close. I would sometimes limp here some hands that are not quite plus EV to shove, like maybe some 7-5 off or something. On the top right, I will go for check to keep some of the king x in my range, and this way, this is pretty much one of the weakest AX we can have here, so it's pretty reasonable for that line. And the flush completes. The question is, can we even now fold, because we have kind of underread our hand, so I think we kind of have to stack off here even now. So I'm not loving the situation. King check. Oh well. Yeah. That happens. Well, let's go for a bit tricky raise on the bottom right. We have some nice backdoors. But he calls, and that is kind of the worst possible card to continue. Okay, good night, love is. Well, let's check back here. Maybe we somehow win. Pretty unlikely. Well, ace is blind versus blind. I suppose Villain was cursing that top pair pairs here. Okay, my river bluffs doesn't seem to go through today. These things, those checked pots. It's very opponent dependent. Some people are folding a lot of a hand, king high hands, and so on. We are actually one of the smallest stacks, even though we still have 20 big blinds. Basically, the cash ups are pretty non-relevant at this point. I mean, on the top left, this guy is pretty passive, so I'm not trying to make any limp or win raise call lines, because I think he's just not going to be aggressive often. So just making it easy by shoving. Yeah, that's one of the good sides, that you can follow the stream later as well. Pocket kings. Hopefully we get action. Well, this is kind of a spot where we can either flat or 3-bet shove. What's with our stack depth? And we have been 3-betting this guy earlier, so I think I will go for the 3-bet shove here. Maybe he's fed up with it. Oh, okay, we don't get action. But yeah, I think calling is pretty nice option as well, because especially when there are kind of a shove stacks behind as well, so we can have some strong hands here. Also, okay, have the SNGs died on the 25, or let's take 10 euro also. And practical nuts on the river. Mainly hoping he has like 9 probably. I would imagine that he's not checking here King X. Okay. But yeah, about the prices, I didn't actually get to probably show it. But anyway, we can see here it's quite even up to not like final table start, beginning of the final table, that prices start to really increase. So we are basically playing chip EV at this point. We could go for 3-bet on the bottom right, kind of decent candidate for it. And I'm just going to check raise here, I think. Yeah, let's go with it. We could call as well, I think. Well, both options are pretty decent. I think I will just C-bet smallish on the top right. Let's hope that the will lane fold. If he doesn't, we hit the second pair. We have 3-bet on the bottom left, so that is not really flop we want to be C-betting. I think we kind of have to call if they will lane bet, and when he doesn't bet, we should have the best hand pretty often. So I will go for value bet here. Of course, if he check raises, it's a bit tricky spot. This guy bets the river as well. Can have definitely some queen x 10x here. I think I just stopped that. I think it's pretty rare that the villain is going for check raise on the MTT, because I think on the average we are going to be checking back so often that it's probably not the greatest option necessarily. 4-2's call was probably a bit wide. He only had like 3 PP behind, so not really that bad, I suppose. Uh, 6-5 we could try to complete if it's folded, but it's not so. That fold. On the bottom left we can either call or 3-bet. I think both options are pretty nice. Problem of 3-betting is of course that if we face the 4-bet, it's kind of a disaster with hand like Jack 10 suited. With stack depth we have. I mean, if we are really deep, we can even call against the 4-bets. 4-bets, but that's quite rare overall in the SNC side that you have the option to make that sort of play. Oh, because it's not like 100 PP plus deep. We have one of the biggest stacks on the table. 3 tables currently, I think. Do shoot at kind of close, but I think I would have open folded. I mean, going for any suited king from the cutoff is a bit on the loose side. Well, bottom right, I will go for liked race. And 6-7 is, well, it's not bad to limp or shove. Both are fairly decent options. Let's go for the passive option this time. No trap. No trapping hand on our hand. Queen jack suited, kind of. I'm thinking about open shoving. Just to not allow it. And ace 3 is actually, we have 20 big blind empties, so I think I will go for shove here. We have the blocker, 20 big blind, so let's hope for the best. Oh. Well, that was probably end of it. 6. No. Bottom has the nuts. Always unfortunate. But it is what it is. What size bet? Ace is going to be good, decent amount of time as well, so I don't think we can fold. But yeah, I think the shove is okay in the MTT. Of course you can call as well, but problem of calling is just ace deuce has such a low post of playability, but it still has the blocker value, so. And again, nutty hand. Nutty hand. Well, yeah, I think I will end to these 2 games. Okay. Just check that we don't have, and we don't have 50 euro in registration. But yeah, we can actually check that ace 2 spot at least. So this hand history thing, it's okay when you have like last hand to check out, but pretty tricky to find. Not much else, and you can only open in the replayer the last hands. I think that's the last you can open in the replayer, last 10 hands or something. Also the fact that he made it a little bit bigger, like compared to min raise, does put us into more of shove direction with this sort of hand. But I will check this one after I get these 3 through, so we can open the hold'em resources without having the client on. I don't really think that the Unibet is checking those, but I think it's just good general thing. That's how you want to use the tools in general. But result-wise, if we win both of the games remaining, we can make some small profit from it. Well, possible. Possible. But yeah, kind of unfortunate overall in the MTT that 2 times I attacked late position. Late position opens with those shoves. There was nothing hands on both of the cases. Of course, luck boxed on the first time, so bad overall. Pretty nice looking river. It doesn't really complete any draws, so I think I will try to. I could even shove the river. I think I will go for kind of smaller bet that we can get value from 10x more often, and maybe we induce some. I will call against the race, but maybe we induce some bluffs that way. Some portion of time. Well, this hand. Well, either way, I think it's fine. We have such a huge equity that I'm pretty happy to just get it in on the flop as well. And I think, well, sometimes he can have some two pairs, but I think it's going to be quite rare because he would probably bet ace jack, ace queen some portion of time, so he should still have a possibility to get value here. Of course, we have to call if he check raises. But like if he has some sort of pair plus draw, like let's say king queen, queen 10, jack 10, well, jack 10 maybe calls and so on. Oh, that's expensive. A bit bigger than I tried to do it on the left table, but well, I suppose it worked anyway. We got action. The greatest river card, but we still have a pretty solid hand with the spade as well. It's not like villains should have that many AX. Now the question is it better to bet or check, but I think we should have quite clear betting hand here. If it raises, it becomes a bit awkward again. Well, let's go for check fold. If he checks behind, I might step the turn some portion of time. It's kind of awkward, so I think I would just call. Kind of awkward. Jack get to 3-bet, because then you are kind of asking that do we need to 3-bet call or fold? Of course, his jack off is not the greatest three-way playing hand, so 3-bet would have pretty clear benefits as well. And we hold. Nice. Here we have the gut shot. I think I will go for with the bet. Of course, getting raised here, we have the fold. Life is not really any sort of scare card. So don't expect that much fold equity here. I mean, if it was queen, for example, it would be a pretty nice barrel card. Pretty nice barrel card. Yeah, I think I just give up here. Okay, well, maybe not this time. It wouldn't have worked on the queen. And we have the absolute nuts. One of the milking line would be to bet really small here, so that if he has some flush draw, he probably continues. Like if we bet 180, he probably calls with the flush draw still. He might call the shove as well, but even though he shouldn't be, but he might anyway. Well, we get it all in, I suppose. Or does he actually fold now? Total air, win, check, raise, fold. It's quite weird that he goes for the check raise and then he's like thinking for a moment here. Oh well, in the money run in the MTT, but not quite what was hoped for, obviously. The bottom, the right table, we have quite strong hand here because AX is going to be quite rare. Quite rare for the villain. Another flat table, if the villain check, I'm going to be betting. He doesn't, so problem of calling, obviously, even though we have open-ended piece that we might be drawing pretty much dead. And ace-3 will be calling hand or shoving hand. Well, pretty sizable bet on the left table, the 3-way pot, so I was planning to continue here. I just give up. Bottom right is not actually bad triple barrel hand in my opinion, because you don't block any of the flush draws, so I think if he calls, club comes. If it was blank river, I would have subbed, but oh well. Well, now we have kind of a monster hand. A pair, good kicker, strong flush draw, got shot. Kind of as monster as one pair hand can be, basically. And ace-3 I usually just shove if the villain min raises. Prelims I tend to miss it, sometimes shoving, sometimes checking. So with the 300 big blind, let's go with the limp. You could shove as well, it would be somewhat profitable, but again it's kind of problematic in a way that it's kind of a shove that if we get called we are almost always behind, so like maybe some queen 10 shooter, queen jack shooter, jack 10 shooter, that type of hands could be calling, but weaker than that usually fold, and well, second hope. Ace-3, wow. That's definitely way too wide call. Way too wide call. There is like 100 better combos to be calling. Check, and straight flush on the board. Almost. Well, we can bet here. We can check or bet, but obviously when we have the absolute bottom possible bottom pair, there is huge amount of benefit if we get basically any hand to fold. Basically any hand has a lot of equity against us, unless it's like some 3x non-pair hand. But again, this guy has also been really passive against the limping, so I think I'm not necessarily balancing that much with the limping. Probably he now shows because I said that, but I mean, sure, I will be limping some pocket pairs anyway, but if we let it more aggressive, I'm also limping usually a lot more like the AX Broadway hands. Well, Broadway hands in general are pretty nice because you can go for, because they play so well post up as well, so like if you have Queen 10 for example, it's pretty nice hand to limp in this spot, and with the plan to limp call if the villain shows. Maybe versus some really tight passive opponents you can even limp fold, but most of the time. This kind of interesting spot, because villain should really rarely have the AX. He can sometimes have the flush, but I think I will go for shove here. It's a lot easier for us to have the AX or the flush. And it's pretty tricky for him to call if he doesn't have better hand. Oh, A6 versus A6. That's usually the end of the game. Six, 9, it's up to 5.2 big blinds, so yeah, let's go with this one. This shallow, I don't usually have any limping range. If the villain doesn't call wider than this, then we are going to make profit certainly. Or I don't know, maybe that is even close to always plus EV hand. Those Nash would be calling most of the better hands. I think pretty much, maybe even all of them. Okay. So we want that one, so it's pretty much break even session, I think. Well, really close. Really close. So we made 3 euros and 1 cent minus from that session. So I suppose you can say it's break even. Obviously not good result, but start of the session was pretty crappy, so I suppose it was kind of a standard pick and fill the whole session. Anyway, thanks for watching and commenting.